Right, counting in, 1, 2, 3. Well, good day, Ian. We've had a busy pre-season here at the mini field. The real business about to begin with a visit to Yorkshire Carnegie on Sunday. This is an interview with Media Officer Phil Western. Kick-off Sunday, of course, at 3 p.m. A long and busy build-up, Ian, to the season. Trips to the Isles of Scilly and Guernsey. Good number of pre-season games played. From your perspective, how have things gone?
Pretty well. We're probably slightly behind where we hope to be due to the large number of young players we've taken on board this year, so we've had to try and get them up to speed physically, technically and tactically. So we're a little bit behind, but the strong core of players we retained from last year means we're not totally reinventing the wheel. So hopefully on Sunday we'll be able to put a show on.
Excellent. Crowd are looking forward to it. The build-up has been going on quite nicely. One thing is, though, as the start of the season creeps in, for all sides we know, injuries are always a worry, especially to core players. But we've got a larger squad, but many of them, of course, younger. Although, as we saw last year, a number will certainly, well, they did impress last season, and I'm sure that there are a number already starting to impress in the squad this year.
Yeah, injuries, obviously Rob Ellaway and Jack Andrew had operations that we knew they were going to have, which will keep them out for a little while. But we're picking up injuries, but that's the nature of rugby. You do get bumps and bruises. We've got a couple of serious ones that we're looking into. But hopefully, you know, the majority of the squad stay injury-free this year. As you said, we've got younger players. We're quite a young squad. Even the experienced players, in Craig Holland, Mike Pope and Kieran Gossett are still youngsters. Experienced because they've played 2 years. So yeah, it's difficult, but it's the nature of rugby.
It is. They like that particular tag, and we'll see how the youngsters do develop on the season, and it's something to look forward to. And as we saw last year, I'm sure that a number are really going to make a good impression. And some of those names you already mentioned, we call experienced players. Now you can train, you can play pre-season games. But arriving at the new championship, the cup season, is what it's all about, and I guess the whole squad, you and the whole squad, are raring to go.
Yeah, very much so. You know, you're here to play rugby. If you can't enjoy pre-season, you're never going to enjoy rugby because there's no pressure on you. The sun is shining, you feel good, you feel fresh, but you're here to play rugby. So week in, week out, it's about the championship, it's about the B&I Cup. We know it's going to be really tough this year because lots of teams have spent a lot of money. So we've got to make sure what we do is right. We keep developing. We're not looking at a 12-month programme, we're looking at a 36-month programme. So, you know, we've got to keep everything in perspective.
Yeah, and what do you expect from Yorkshire Carnegie this weekend? Interesting that they've appointed another rugby league man in Gary Mercer, taking over from James Lowe, who did a good job quite clearly last season. What are your thoughts with reference to what they will bring to the game this weekend?
Well, where they are geographically, you know, I think determines that they're always going to have a strong rugby league connection. We've got a good link up with the Rhinos, or vice versa really. The Rhinos are the major partner in that group. But James did a good job last year, but let's not forget they've got Tommy McGee there, they've got Dave Baldwin, certainly Sir Ian McGeechan, I believe, has coached a fair bit of rugby union in his time. So they've got that spine of a coaching team that are well blessed in rugby knowledge. Gary Mercer's been involved in the Scotland setup and Scottish age group, so he's not coming fresh from rugby league. And Leeds, or Yorkshire Carnegie as they are now, as a club, have been semi-finalists in the championship for the last 2 years. So I'm sure they'll be wanting to go one step further. They'll probably be in most people's favourites for top 4. But they have lost some players. They've lost some key people like Jacob Rowan, Steve McCall, guys who have been standout players for them in the last couple of years. Jonah Holmes was a fantastic player for them last year on loan from Wasps. And also guys that we know very well, Mike Myerscough, Matt Smith, and now established guys up there, complemented by Ryan Burrows, Ben Harris, James Tideswell, you know, so they're a really strong side, so we're expecting them to be what they probably are, which is a top 4 side.
Yeah, it all builds to what we expect to be, as you mentioned, a tough contest here, a stern challenge for the Cornish Pirates, but there was a really good game against them last year, one of the standout games, I think Yorkshire, or Leeds Carnegie, as they were when they came to the mini field, played some wonderful rugby last September. But we started as well, of course, off that game against Bristol at Sandy Park, and we'll be looking for a good start, I'm sure, again this Sunday. Now, talking about coaches, how are your compatriots, Gavin and Paige, shaping up in their new roles?
They're learning as they go along. They're learning that a coach's job is totally different to a player's job. There's a lot more planning that needs to go in place, a lot more thoughts, a lot more late nights, early starts. So they're slowly but surely learning that it's a thankless task to be a coach, to be honest with you, because if you lose, it's the coach's fault, and if you win, it's the players have done well. So you're always on a loser, really. As
they were players, I'm sure they will learn, but at the same time, I think it makes a good triumvirate, and we wish you all the very best in that department together for the benefit of the club and Cornish rugby as we proceed through the season and beyond, hopefully. Now, last season, the Cornish Pirates ended 6th in the league and made it to the quarter-final of the Cup. It was a roller coaster of a season, as you indeed predicted, Ian. So what do you think, realistically, of 2014-15?
Well, the original plan was that this would be year 2, it was a 3-year plan, but in reality it's probably year 1 again, because of the turnover of players and the way that we've had to change our focus a little bit with these youngsters coming in again. So it's probably year 1 again. It could well be a roller coaster, but I think we need to get to the stage where we get some continuity, which hopefully we've got lots of guys on 2-year contracts now, and I kind of like to not be a roller coaster, but it could well be, as Gavin and Alan and myself get to handle on things. The players start to pick up the new habits of the new players. There's going to be ups and downs. We started last year beating Bristol and scoring a try very early against Leeds, as they were then, and we thought we were the best in since sliced bread, and then we dipped, then we picked it up again, then we dipped, then we picked it up again. When we spoke pre-season, it was about consistency. If we can get consistency in performance, then we'll win more games than we lose. If we don't get consistency, then it's down to chance.
Right, and finally, your prediction on who will be promoted. Is it wider than a 2-team race? I guess you think it is.
In reality, if it's not Worcester or Bristol, you've got to ask some serious questions if you're the Bristol or Worcester management team. They spent a lot of money, both of them, to get promoted. But there's lots of teams who spent lots of money. Scottish have spent lots of money, Jersey have spent lots of money. Rotherham, obviously, the experience they had last year of being top 4, but they have lost a few players, but they've recruited well. Lee up there, Leeds themselves have spent some money. Moseley, always a dark horse. If I was going to put hand on heart, I'd say top 3 would be Bristol, Worcester and Scottish, and the other 9 teams are fighting relegation.
Well, that's for the future. We'll wait and see. For the present, of course, we look forward to a festival weekend of rugby here at the Manyfield. It's Bath University on Friday evening, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. The Pirates Amateurs are at home on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, their opener in the Devon and Cornwall League. And then it's the biggie, Yorkshire Carnegie. Gates open 1 p.m. on Sunday for that 3 p.m. kickoff. Thanks, Ian.
No problem.